By the way, sorry I'm looking this side. It's just my main monitor is here. My laptop is here where I organize everything, but I will be in the right place real quick. Okay, I announce that we are starting. Okay, and if everything is correct, then yes, let's go. Okay, I will also share the Steam page of the game on the chat, so people can stop by the Steam page of the game. Let me do that real quick. And let me pop it out on the top of the chat. There you go. Okay. I think everything is good. Let me just double check everything. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please let us know if everything is working fine on both of our ends, on the stream ends, audio ends, everything. And then we can actually start. Let me check too if everything is working. By the way, sorry, I'm double checking everything all the time because like with OBS it can always happen something. So
yeah,
it seems like please say something. With OBS
hello,
it can always happen
test.
So.
Yeah, am I loud enough? Can everybody hear me?
With OBS
hello,
it can always happen.
should I keep on speaking? Yeah, am I loud
okay,
enough?
perfect.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, and they also my community also said that the voice and the sound, everything is fine. Okay, Marvin, let me know if we can start. Let me know if you're down to start.
Yeah, let's start.
Okay, so welcome everyone in the very new episode of my Dev Live show. Today I'm joined with Marvin for Aldamami Games, the creators of the game called Bloodletter. First of all, I would like to say that I'm very thankful and very honored that you joined us for today's episode of my Dev Live show. And like I'm always saying, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So please, Marvin, introduce yourself for us.
Yes, hi, I'm Marvin. I'm one of the 4 people working on Bloodletter.
Okay.
We have been working on Bloodletter for almost 1.5 years now.
Okay.
It was originally a university project of our team.
I see.
And it went really well, and we were really passionate about the project, and we liked it a lot. And then we thought, hey, why not found a company and bring the game to the full release? We were also awarded with a little award in the German Computer Game Awards.
Oh, okay.
So it gave us a little bit of an economic kickstart. And then we got funding from our state, from Berlin. And yeah, that basically started our game dev career. So we are very, very young, still very, very interesting. We are learning everything new, and yeah, very excited to finally get the game out. I
can imagine. It's like the first game, right? It's everything from the scratch, like it's old, man. Yeah, nice. I love that story, and congratulations for the award, by the way. Congratulations for the success. Yeah. So my very first question would be, let's start with this question that I always ask my guests first. What is your very first memory with video games as a player, if you remember those times of your past, like as a player?
Yes, I think so. For me personally, my parents love board games.
Okay.
So my first game experience was playing board games with my father. He taught me chess very, very early on.
Okay.
That was very nice. And then on I think it was my 11th birthday, I got my first computer. So I'm almost 13 now, so it's been 19 years. And he gave me this very old computer with Age of Empires 1 and the Settlers 3. those were my first video games, and I loved them very, very much. I was terrible at them, but it was super awesome.
But you love them.
And
That's what's most important about it, right?
yeah, very much. Yeah, and that was my very, very first experience with video games. Yeah.
I see. I see. From that point of your life, what was that like light bulb moment for you when you realized that, hey, I would like to work on games as well? So it's not just a passion as a player for me to play games, but also I can see myself like making games as well, like from the creator perspective.
Mhm. So as a creative outlet, I have been kind of making games, not
Okay.
really games, but um, like more like ideas and experiences very early on. But then I was busy playing games, so I didn't think about much making
I
games.
see.
And then I had a full-time, after school, I started with a full-time job, a very boring kind of office job. And that was not very, very fun. And it felt like, yeah, I kind of want to do more
I
and I
see.
kind of want to do something creative. And at the time, my girlfriend studied game
Okay.
design at the same university as I am here right now. So she was kind of the connection
I
to,
see.
hey, you can actually study that and you can actually make games.
Like
And
it's not
I
just a
was so
dream, but
fascinated.
actually can make
Yeah,
a way
exactly.
into your life. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, why not try it out as well? And I submitted my application for the university and I got accepted. And then from then on, it was 100% making games.
I see. I see. I see. I see. Let's move
Yeah.
to the topic of a bit of like personal questions. Um, were your family members, like you said, friends, relationship members, supportive about this decision of yours that you would like to work on games? How do you feel about that? And is it important for your life, for yourself, to have this mentally supporting background in your life, or you have done it anyway in your life?
Um, yeah, I have been very much supported by my parents.
Okay,
They care deeply about me choosing my own direction and finding something I can do
I see.
and I want to do. And when I showed them that I have a great passion for making games, they did not put any stones in my way or try to discuss whether that makes enough
That's
money
very
or
nice of
whatever.
them. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
rare.
they were like,
Let's honest. Let's be honest about it.
yes,
That's rare. Yeah,
yeah, that is a very, very high privilege, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Yes. And otherwise, besides my parents, of course, my then girlfriend was also extremely supportive.
I see.
For the application for the university, you have to make a kind of like a game or
I see.
an idea towards a topic. And I made a little board game, and we always play tested
Oh,
it and tried it around. And yeah,
so your
I
past
got a lot of
experiences came
support.
back, we can say, as the board game, right? You mentioned
Yes,
it, yeah.
and especially my father is a very, very big board game nerd,
I see.
and he loved that I make board games. Or I'm not producing board games, but I like making them. I like
Yeah,
coming up with ideas, and I think especially the analog way of making games is very easy because you can
true.
just take a paper and write something
True,
on it, and then
true,
it can become a game.
true, true.
Um, yeah, and he was very passionate about me making games, and maybe for him more board games, but yeah, I guess I want to
He
make
will
video
make
games
you,
now.
he will be the biggest fan of your games, right? And he will be the biggest critique that he wants more board games, we could say. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I see, I see, I see. And my next question that you missed answering or haven't answered, that like, is it important for you to have this mentally supporting background, or you have done it anyway? How do you feel about that? Or you never thought about this topic?
Yeah, I think when I look around, I think it's very rare that I get such a great support
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
for still such a niche career path.
Sure.
I mean, it probably becomes much, much more accepted as time goes on, but I
Very
think it's
true.
still very much critiqued. Um, So I'm very, very happy about that. And I thought about, I guess making games for me is kind of like my creative outlet.
I see.
So I can't really draw and I can't make music. I don't have the passion and the endurance for that.
Would you like to learn
But
these things, by the way? Sorry to interrupt you. Would you like to learn these things? Like a
I
challenge in the future?
yeah. The thing is, I think making games is kind of, for me, it's a way uh, of expressing myself
I see. Okay.
and thinking about topics that that are really important to me.
I see. Okay.
And then when I come up with a game idea, it's usually about something that I care about
I
or
see.
that
I see.
that's part of my life. And then when it comes to making the game, there's a lot of stuff I need to do to make this game,
I
to
see.
make this idea a
I
reality.
see.
And this kind of motivation is not really in making music and making art or something like
I
that,
see. I see.
something too specific. I guess maybe I need everything because video games need music, video
True.
games
True.
need artworks, video
True.
games need balancing and game design and stuff like that.
True. True. True.
Yes, and
You're.
also
Oh no, go for that. Go for
I'm
that.
more
Sorry.
of a pro. Oh, sorry.
No, no, go for that. Go for that. Go.
I'm also the programmer of the team.
Yeah, 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 I know
So
that. Yeah, yeah.
I do the programming. I can and the other three come from an artist background.
I see.
I guess right now when making the game, everyone is kind of doing everything. Except for the programming maybe, because that's only me and I don't do anything about the art
I see. I
stuff.
see. I see.
So I'm more busy programming the stuff and I don't really find the time to, yeah, make the artworks.
I
It's
see.
a challenge.
I see. It's very interesting that you mentioned like there are a lot of topics that are important to you and you try to put them into the games you make, because I wanted to ask you a question a bit later, but it seems you thought of this question or you answered this question, that like I believe every creator has its own drive, right? When he or she is making a craft, putting a craft to the table. And I believe that these creators always put themselves, either if it's like a bad experience, a happy experience, a motivation, a drive from their past, into the craft that they make. Can you specify some topics that are important to you that you always put or try to put into the games that you make? Because you answered my question. My original question would be like, do you put yourself into the games? But you mentioned that you do that. But what specific topics are the drives or the motives that you would like to have in your games, in your future games or in Bloodletter? Because
I
it's
think
very
there's
interesting
not.
for me to know.
I think there's not one thing that
Okay.
always needs to be there.
Okay. Okay.
But for Bloodletter, I think it's very easy for me to answer that
Okay.
because I haven't been making huge projects like this before, so I haven't been able to kind of reflect about why I'm making
I see.
this and
I see.
where my self is in this project. But for Bloodletter, it was from the start. I'm always very fascinated about relationships between people,
Okay. Okay.
and I think the altruistic way or model, I guess,
Okay.
or
Okay.
ideal, is something I'm very, very intrigued about. Maybe I should explain a little bit. So altruism is like living for a community and giving away something to one another
Yeah.
without expecting something back. And I think especially in today's world, in my world, people can tend to become very materialistic.
True. True. Very true. Sadly, I would say, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And I love this ideal of
Hmm.
just giving something without expecting something back. And that has been kind of the main
I
motivation
see. I
of
see.
what we want to make Bloodletter about. At least it's for me, because we are four people, and I think that's my main drive,
I see.
and the others have other parts from there. But the idea of treating the game is about treating villagers, a community of villagers. So you are kind of the doctor in a medieval hospital, bathhouse is what it's called, and they come to you and they have problems and you need to take care of them. And then in return, after the day is done, you can get one thing from them back. And that's kind of the deck building part of the game. So you have your deck of healing methods that you play for the villagers to help them. And then you can get something back from them, like upgrading cards or getting new cards in your deck or stuff like that.
I see. I see.
Yeah, and that's it.
I see. When do you think these topics, like this, for example, this specific topic, became important to you in your life, and when was the time when you realized that, hey, I would like to use these topics to not just teach, but to give something to learn about more for the players, for the people who play your games? And I think it's happened in your life, because I feel like these topics that you mentioned are very important to talk about, right? Especially like you said, and it's very true in my opinion. I agree with you in this crazy world of ours. But I feel like every one of us who grow up, we have this shift when we realize that we have to talk about these topics more, and to try to push others to think about these topics too. When this specific topic became important to you? If you can talk about it, of course, and if it's comfortable for you to talk about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the details are maybe a little bit too personal for me.
Okay.
But before, like after school, when kind of the work life started,
I see.
I got a lot of reality checks, and I have, yeah, I've just experienced a lot of things that where people treated me or I treated people not the way I want
I see.
to treat people.
I see.
And some friendships, some relationships kind of broke, and yeah, I got really hurt about that.
I can
And I
feel that,
think
by
one
the
of
way,
the
because
main
these things happen to me, and still sometimes happen to me in my life. So I can relate to that. Yeah.
I think that can always happen.
True.
It's part of life, and
True.
I like the idea of being altruistic and treating each other with respect. But yeah, it's hard to get into reality.
True. It's probably the hardest one, right?
Excuse me?
It's probably the hardest thing to do these topics in real life, not just to talk about, right? But like really puts them into reality. Yeah. Because
but that's why I think games are such an awesome medium, because you can give players these experiences and these things you care about and transport them in a way that you feel like is from yourself. Of course, you can just tell people what you think, but
it wouldn't be that artistic. Yeah, true.
At least that's for me, yeah.
True. Thank you, by the way, for your honesty. I appreciate that, because it's a hard topic to talk about, but you were very honest, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's move back to the topic of the game itself. What was your favorite part or parts about Bloodletter when you were making the game?
Okay. I think there are a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Okay.
One of my first favorite experiences was the prototyping stage.
Okay.
Because it's a deck builder, so you have cards and you have a deck of cards and you play cards, and the rules can be very clear.
I see.
So we started off playing, developing the prototype in analog. So we took a bunch of paper, ripped it apart to have little card snippets, and then we wrote some effect on it. And okay, this sounds too crazy. Let's change it a little bit. And then we just put it in front of other people for like a month or so, or maybe a little bit less. and always iterating over it, and it was so quick and so fast. And yeah, that was really awesome. It was really nice. And then the serious part came around, and I had to start programming to get it digitally, and that was very, very stressful.
I see.
But once we were done with that, once we had it playable, that was also very, very nice to finally get it in front of people and gather feedback and stuff like that.
I see.
Maybe a specific aspect about the game that I really, really like um, is the villagers basically, and
Okay.
the mechanics behind it.
Okay.
Um, because I think I love how they kind of fit in the narrative of this village, and people have these villagers have different professions, and then they have unique abilities that we at least try to fit to their profession. They have very, very awesome designs. They look awesome. um, but they also work really, really well in this game design aspect of Bloodletter, where it's very, very different to other roguelike deck builders. You don't move across a map and have to kill monsters, but instead you are in this tiny village, and you have these day cycles where during the day you treat the villagers, and in the evening you visit one of these villagers to improve your deck, and in the night your opponent tries to harm them. And yeah, I think that was a very unique approach and very
I see.
interesting, and yeah, that is one of my favorite parts.
Who's your favorite villager, by the way, in the game? If you can name it,
Oh.
or name the villager without a spoiler, of course,
um,
and why?
oh, there, I have a favorite villager about the visuals,
Okay. Okay.
because we have the miller,
Okay.
and the setting behind these villagers is that they came to the village with after committing a sin,
I see.
and to atone for their sin, they went into this village, and the village had these entities that harnesses the evil energy of these
I
people
see.
who committed the sins.
I see.
Um, and then while these villagers stayed in the village, they became more and more what they do. So, for example, the miller looks like a mill, and I love the design of her. Another very, very awesomely designed village is the butcher, I think, because his sin that he committed was very, very cruel. He did cannibalism, which is not very nice. And as the butcher who has to provide the some of the food for the village, he kind of transformed in a way where he grows animals outside of him and has to butcher them.
I see.
Very, very dark stuff, but incredibly unique and very awesome looking. And yeah, that's probably my most favorite. Yeah, but I also love the miller.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. You mentioned your favorite part and parts about the process of making Bloodletter, but what about the most challenging ones for you personally?
hmm Yeah, there have been a ton of challenges.
Okay.
I feel very much like since we don't have any, neither of us has any experience producing a game, developing a game, bringing a game to release. Everything is very, very unknown for us. But we want to make the best out of it. We
I
want to
see.
we want to have a great experience, and we want to try our best. Um, and yeah, I think one of the main challenges is when there's a topic that no one of us knows anything about, but the game needs this thing. Maybe one of the most relevant things is the music, because no one of us can make music
I
for
see.
games. So we had to find out, okay, how do we do this? How do we get sound effects?
I see.
How can we get people to make the music for us? And I think we have found awesome people who make our music. We got a couple of sound snippets, from a sound library. I think it worked really well. But yeah, these kinds of things, and I think also getting the game to be known. So reaching people with the
True,
game
true.
is also an incredible challenge. And
Yeah, I agree on that.
whenever, yeah, and I think there's so many different opinions what you have to do and what you don't have to
True,
do,
true, true.
and we don't know anything, and then
Especially
someone tells us,
nowadays,
"Oh,
right?
you have to
Where
do it this way," and
yeah,
then someone else
exactly.
tells us, "Oh no,
Yeah, exactly.
definitely not."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you guys?
Finding our own lane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted to ask you from this exact sentence that you just said. That how do you guys keep your own vision still, but like still listen to the players' feedback? So how do you balance these two things in the project?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the most important thing is keeping the core vision of
Okay,
the
okay,
game.
okay.
So especially the core gameplay loop of playing your cards to heal the villagers and visiting the villagers, and then the villagers dying or not dying, and then moving on. Most of these parts are very, very fixed and very, very strict. And the way we want to engage with community feedback is for developing new content.
I see.
So we will go into early access very soon on March 30th. And from then on, we will be mostly working on content. And this is where we want to listen to the players, what they
I see.
want, and what they think improves the experience. Yeah, so the core idea should never change, but when people ask for a specific feature or for a content or a mechanic to be more fleshed out, we will focus on that.
I see. I see.
And the way we do that is listen to wherever someone talks about the game. I think the best way to talk about or to listen to people talking about the game is our Discord. Because yeah, that's easy for us to reach,
Direct.
and
Yeah, it's more
and
direct. Yeah,
maybe engage in a little bit of a discussion or something like that, and
I see.
that's very, very helpful. Yeah.
I see. I see. You mentioned early access and future content. Is there any plans for like console release or physical edition release too, or it's very in the future of a topic to talk about right now about that?
The main focus for us is getting the game to PC
I see.
and working that out. I think one of our main limitations, because I am the only one programming, that's the technical aspects are one of our main limitations, and launching to a console or something like that would require a lot of technical work. So we don't have it planned, we don't have it scheduled, but maybe sometimes it will come.
I
But
see.
don't expect it.
Okay. Okay. Maybe it's good enough for me. I can handle that. Okay.
And about the paper version, I would love that.
Yeah,
I
because you
think
mentioned that for me it was very interesting to hear that you actually guys started via paper version, and it would be very awesome to have like a physical edition where people can play with the physical cards. In my opinion.
yeah, definitely. I would love if we could find the time to do something like that.
Let me know. I will be the first one to buy it. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know when it's out. I love physical stuff.
Yes.
I love them. And I'm sure your
Very
father
cool.
loves them, as you mentioned, right? So he'll
Yeah.
be the biggest fan of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
Okay, okay. So let's circle back to the topic of balance. We talked about like the balance between vision and players' feedback, but what about the balance of the difficulty settings for the game itself?
Yeah. I think in terms of balancing, the most important thing for us is knowing what kind of people or players we want to reach with the game.
Okay.
And then balancing or designing the game in a way that is fun for the people we want to reach. Initially, the game was more on a strategic kind of game.
I see.
And I think especially when looking into the genre of roguelike deck builders, there are a lot of very, very hard and very, very strategic and complex deck builders. But we want to have a more accessible and more light kind of version
I
for
see.
that. So we want everyone to have we want the players we want to reach to have the best experience, and then we need to see how we can also reach other players. And I think we have 3 difficulties on each level, basically, that you can unlock. And the way we do it is we make the easy mode as accessible as possible, also to get kind of familiar with the world and the experience and the rules. And then we have the medium difficulty, which is the mostly our intended way to play. So a little bit of a challenge, not as easy. Also a couple of new mechanics that you can engage with that might be a little bit too much for the easy difficulty. And then for the hard difficulty, we try to make people suffer.
That's honest.
Yes. It's very hard, and we are struggling as well. It's not final the way we balance it right now. Probably we have to go down a little bit, but yeah, we want to have this final challenge that you really need to try your hardest to win.
I see. I see. You also mentioned like the fact of early access. So this game will be out via early access version. After the early access version will be turning into 1.0, I'm guessing how you guys will call it. So the final version. Are you guys planning to also support it forward? So after the 1.0 version, or you guys will stop after you reach 1.0, or it's still like in the making and you guys not sure about that?
Yeah, one of the major things will be how we can actually finish the game and how it is going for us.
Okay. Okay.
We have founded the company with the first goal to make professional games together
I see.
and to try to earn money with that. And releasing the game is definitely the best way to kind of start making money with it.
True.
And then after that, we will have to see how we can kind of sustain the company. We want to keep on working together, and then we will have to see if the best way for us is to work on a new project or maybe make a DLC or anything like that. But there's nothing very hard planned for that.
I see.
We will have to discuss that once we are at that point.
I see. Also, a topic which comes to my mind when we speak about the fact of early access. People love to have roadmaps for the early access games. Are you guys planning to release a roadmap for your own game, or it's still in the making, or there will be no roadmap for the contents drops that you mentioned?
There will be a roadmap.
Okay.
Yes. We are working on it right now.
Oh, okay. You also mentioned the challenges that you would like to take in the future. What kind of other genres would you like to try out yourself in as a video game developer?
Personally, I would like to try out genres where I think we can finish a game in less time.
Okay.
I think we have been working on it for 1.5 years, and it's been a long time already, and it will still be a couple of months that we will be working on the game. And I would love to try out different ways of making games, and one of these ways would be to shorten the development cycle.
I see.
Not extremely, but what can we get out in like a year or half a year or something like that? That is something that is very interesting to me, that I would love to try out and see, okay, then we can compare those two ways of working on a game for more than 2 years or working on a game for half a year. What
I
do we
see.
prefer? And moving on from that.
I see.
And there are a lot of other things that I would love to try out
Okay.
and just see how we can do that. I would also maybe a little bit more specific about genres and stuff like that. I would love to make a Vampire Survivors-like game.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
They are so addicting. I love them. I mean, there are a lot of them out there, but I think there are so many incredible opportunities and possibilities to still figure out in this genre.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Especially in the
And
3D space, right? Because there are not a lot of like 3D Vampire Survivor
yes,
games. Most of them are top down. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And then we will see what it brings.
Okay.
Maybe one more thing. What I really like about our development process of Bloodletter is that we started with the idea of how the game should feel and what the game should be about. Before the game came to be, we were in the ideation phase. We were thinking about, okay, let's make a game in the Middle Ages where you interact with a community, where you need to heal people and stuff like that. And there was nothing about mechanics or
I see.
rules or anything like that. And then just over time, we were thinking about, okay, how can we make mechanics and rules that fit the goal we want the players to feel
I see.
when playing the game. And then we kind of, at that point, we arrived at making a deck builder, because we have a very strict rules, and we have these awesome ways of transporting these ideas of treating these villagers by playing their cards without having like a very abstract kind of thing, but it can be very relatable. We also have a lot of cards that represent medieval healing methods, and there's a lot of very, very interesting stuff to dive into when researching medieval healing methods. There was very, very wild stuff, and yeah,
that
yeah,
could
and
be
then
awesome, man.
putting
That
it
could
on
be
a card.
awesome. The research
Yes.
phases. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
What maybe I can talk a little bit about.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. I'm all ears.
That it's not my responsibility to come up with these treatment methods and stuff like that. But of course, I love it. So I always listen to what the others have to tell me about it. And one of the most crazy treatment methods that we had recently discovered was when people had some kind of illness on their skin or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Then they took a chicken, a live chicken, and tied it onto the spot where you had some problem with your skin or something like that. And they tied it onto you until either you were dead or until the chicken died.
That's crazy.
And when the chicken died, you were cured.
That's crazy. Have people really used these methods in real life?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy, man. And did it work?
So
by the way, based on the researches that you did it work for some people, by the way? Back in the history times?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it was a little bit like a witch hunt where people try to find out whether a woman is a witch or not, and they tied a rock to her and put her in the lake, and then
they could never be sure, right?
She's a witch.
They could never be sure about that.
Yeah. And I think those treatment methods work kind of like that.
Yeah,
But I don't have any facts about it.
I
I
see.
just have the story, and I
And it's
thought,
awesome,
okay,
and it's very funny story as well. So love
yeah,
that, love
yeah.
that, love. It. Is it in the game, by the way? This method? Is it?
You
Is
will
it?
find
Okay,
you
it's
will find
spoiler
this
time.
card in the early access.
Oh, crazy! Okay, chicken card. Love that. Love that. Okay. Hopefully, players won't die, right? No, I'm
Yeah.
joking. I'm joking. Okay. Okay. Throughout the process of working on the game, was there anything that needed to be cut out, by the way, from the game? Since you mentioned there are a lot of contents that you would like to add after the early access is released, but was there anything that needed to be cut out from the project itself? And is there a possibility for those things to come back after the early access is released?
hmm I think the most thing we cut is game design stuff.
Okay,
So ideas for cards we came up with, and then we tried it out, and we realized, okay, those are not fun. Let's
I
cut them
see.
out. Or very, very crazy villager ideas for the villager abilities, where we thought, okay, but we always try them out,
I see.
try to implement them as dirty and quickly as possible,
I see.
and then see how it feels, and then okay, let's cut it out. Those things probably never come back. But another thing that we recently had to cut was controller support.
Okay, really?
Yes, yes. We have been working on trying to implement a controller support, and we realized, okay, in order to keep our deadlines, this will not be
Oh, I
possible.
see. I see. I see. I see.
So we had to cut it for now, but we will try to get it into the game during early access.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
What about the programming side and role of yours in the team? Like, what was the biggest challenge for the bugs to find throughout the process of making the game so far? Because we love bugs, right? In programming. So, what was the biggest bug or hardest bug to find when you were programming, coding the
Oh
game?
man. Yeah.
That you remember that, hey, it was crazy and it took so much time and energy, consumed me basically.
Yeah. I think one of the there are a lot of funny bugs that we don't really know how to that I didn't immediately get to fix.
I see, I see, I see.
But we have these cards that you get as a reward. So whenever after visiting a villager, they also give you a card. So you can choose one of three. So the typical card reward from deck builders.
I see.
And we tried to make that as beautiful and nice looking as possible and good feeling as possible. And there were a lot of iterations where that thing just didn't work, where particles flew everywhere, where cards were different sizes, and suddenly you had a card that was filling the entire screen and stuff like that.
Magic happened, right? The witch hunt.
Yeah, and that was really, really strange, and it haunts me. It always comes back.
I feel you, yeah. It's great. It's
But
great.
right now it's working. Right now it's working.
So it's fake. No more witch hunt for for those things. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Another thing that's really rough is we thought that it would be a good idea to make a tutorial for the game very, very early on. So after finishing the prototype, we basically the first thing we started with was the tutorial.
I see.
So we can get the game to other people and they can play a tutorial and learn the game that way. So we don't have to explain everything.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah.
And we also thought that it would be a good idea because we have the entire duration of our development cycle to iterate over the tutorial. And the tutorial is usually the one thing that people interact with the game the first.
True.
So we thought, okay, this is the most important thing. And we developed it very early on. And then we had new mechanics or new rules that we suddenly added or implemented into the game. And then, oh shit, we need to explain this in the tutorial. So
You
go back to the
always had to
tutorial.
come back, yeah.
Yeah. And then we had balancing changes for cards in the tutorial that were supposed to be played to reach a certain threshold or something like that. And we thought, oh no, this card is too good. We need to nerf it a little bit. And then suddenly the tutorial was broke again. And
That's
yeah,
funny. Yeah.
tutorials, Sisyphus work. It always comes back.
True,
And
true,
whenever
true.
we implement something new, the first thing we need to do is see if the tutorial still works.
I see. Do you think, by the way, personally, for you as a player, is it important that there is a tutorial in the game? And do you want to have those tutorials to be able to skip? Because I read a lot of discussion all over the internet that a lot of nowadays, especially nowadays, players want tutorials to be able to skip. I personally don't believe it's a good thing because I feel like a lot of players don't give enough opportunity for themselves to learn the game, the core mechanics, in order to understand the game and then move forward to have fun with the game. How do you feel about it as a player and as a developer?
Mm-hmm. So I think that in today you have a lot of opportunities to interact with the game outside of the game.
Okay.
You can watch YouTube
It's true.
videos, you
It's
can
true.
watch streamers, you can read articles or whatever. There's millions of possibilities to learn about the game outside of the game.
Yeah, but it doesn't
And
necessarily mean that players will go for those ways that you mentioned. And I think it's a huge problem because I can see that like the more knowledge is out there for the players, and it's not just about, of course, video games, but as we talk about video games, I feel like there, like you mentioned, there are so many ways of learning the games, not just a tutorial, like the streams you mentioned, videos, everything. But I feel like a lot of players don't use these methods to learn, so that's why I asked it.
okay. Yeah. So in my experience, there are a lot of people who learn about the game while watching, or who kind of determine whether they want to buy the
I
game.
see.
So you watch a YouTube video about the game before you commit to buying the game. That is at least what I have experienced a lot. And that kind of makes a tutorial it feels like
Yeah, but
unnecessary
it's not the same,
because
right? It's not the same as you like try out a game via its demo or a tutorial, or you watch a stream. For example, from my personal perspective, I always tell my viewers that if they see a new game on my stream, they should always try out the demo because we live in an era where demos, almost every game now has a demo, especially on Steam, right? Back when I was a kid, we had to like buy magazines in order to have a demo disc, and that demo disc like featured 50 or 60 demos, but not all of the games had demos back then. So I feel like from my perspective, I agree what you have said, don't get me wrong. It's just like I feel like from my perspective and what I experienced over the years on the internet, I feel like a lot of people are missing, like again, I said this, that I feel like a lot of players are missing the opportunity to experience the game, and I feel like watching a game never will be the same as playing it, right? Because it's like it's a passive aggressive method of like consuming an art form, right? Because if you watch a movie, of course it's understandable that you will watch a movie and you experience the art and the choices and the vision of the creators and the message by watching it. But for a game you have to play it to experience it, to hear the voices, to see everything, to experience with your mind and play the game. So that's why I said that for me personally, I believe it's not always healthy to just judge a game by watching a trailer or by reading about it, because we live in an era, and that's why I started this Dev Life show years ago, that we live in an era where like a lot of people decide by very specific let's say gurus or people who tell them about games. If those people showcase them the game that it's a bad game, they will believe it, and I think it's not a great thing. It's not a healthy thing for neither for the developers, neither for the publishers, and of course not for the games and the players too.
yeah, I totally agree with you. I think especially from the game developer's perspective, you make the game in order to be for it to be experienced,
True,
and
true, true.
you give players opportunities to find their own way
Exactly,
and
exactly.
to experience
That
their
would
own
be the most
challenges and
important
stuff like
thing
that.
because, in my opinion,
Yeah.
the message, for example, that you mentioned about the perfect connections between human beings will be probably understood by players differently, right? So player A will understand it such a different way than player B and player C, and on and on. So yeah.
Mm.
And for that,
Yeah.
they have to play the game, because if they will watch, they will just understand the person who is playing, and they will watch.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. So, what about the future? You mentioned that there are some ideas that you were thinking of, but they are not very settled down ideas. Are you guys planning to move to another direction from deck builder games, or it's still, like you mentioned, it's just ideas floating around in your guys' head and in your team's head? And
Yeah, it's very much open.
okay,
We are, I think right now, especially right now, we are very much in the present and trying to get the game finished for the early access release, and then first get a breather and then keep on working on it. That is the very near future. And then maybe I haven't touched on it too much, but we are still studying. We are still assigned as students, and I think all of us are kind of, everyone has every credit, but we haven't gotten the final
final
exam.
exam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that is probably, it should happen at some point. um, and we will have to find out how we want our developer journey to align with getting this exam. I think it will be not a very large project or anything like that, but more like a little bit of a distance after working on the game
I
for
see.
a couple of years. We and working very, very closely together, we will have a little bit of time to um, get our exam ready and finish our bachelor, and then we will probably all enroll into the master and then start the next project in the master's degree,
I see.
because we study game design. So yeah.
I see. Okay. You mentioned you work in a team. So my next question will be around this topic. Do you believe in perfect synergy between team members, or is it something that develops out through the process of working together as a team? Or is it both?
um I think working in a team is not so much about having the best fit with each other,
Okay.
the best synergy, but more like being able to stick through the bad parts of the
Okay. I
development.
agree on that. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and I think especially differing opinions are very, very valuable. But when finding a conclusion or making a decision where people have differing opinions, I think a healthy and good team can discuss about these different these different options, and find an option where everyone can agree with, or where everyone can move on from. And I think that's very important for me, to have a healthy engagement and also to be as diverse as possible.
I see.
If uh, So for our team, I am the only person who played roguelike deck builders before we started making Bloodletter, and I think that was really good, because if all of us had known deck builders, we would have all had the same ideas, and it would have all been ideas from other games
Other
within the
games.
genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but because we have so different backgrounds and so many different interests, we can have a lot of different and very unique influences
Yeah.
within each other.
Yeah.
And we can make a project that is truly unique because
And
of that.
less influenced by other games. Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's stay at the topic or at the core ground of the topic of the personal questions. How have you changed as a person in other territories of your own life from being a game developer for so many years? If there were, of course, any changes.
I think I have stopped doing a lot of different stuff.
Okay.
um, the making the game is definitely my top priority. So I have had a little bit of a hard time to keep up with my other interests and my other passions.
I see. I see.
I love woodworking, for example.
Okay.
It's more of it's totally a hobby, so I haven't trained in it or I'm not good at it, but I love sawing stuff and gluing stuff together and yeah.
Maybe next game,
That is
right? Maybe next game. Stop motion game. I can see that. Who knows?
I would dig it.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think especially when during this period right now where we are nearing the release and stuff like that, it is very hard to keep up with the other stuff in my life.
I see.
And yeah,
I see. Okay. 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 Are you down to go into the questions from the community before I ask some more questions from you?
totally.
Okay. Okay. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know if there is any question that you would like to ask our friend here. Bármilyen kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any question? Any question? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Here is the time. Here is the time and place. Let us know. Let me figure out the chat here. Let us know. You mentioned that you were, while we are waiting for questions, I will ask some more questions. You mentioned that you played a lot of games before you started building and making Bloodletter. How your perspective as a player changed from being a game developer for so many years?
I think I can appreciate much more little details
Okay.
that are not really relevant, that have not been relevant to me as a player,
Okay.
but that I notice, and then I think, oh my God, this weird animation there, it looks really cool, and it guides the player towards something, and that is such a smart idea to do it, and stuff like that. And I also tend to look at games more of inspiration and less
see.
of leisure experience.
I see.
Before I just played to have fun and to spend my free time, and now I kind of sometimes I tend to play the game to find new inspiring ideas and stuff like that.
I see. Does it take away from the fun aspect as a player, or that you have this developer mind now that you use when you play games, or you still can have fun in games while playing them?
I think the fun is just different.
Okay. Okay.
It's less about just enjoying
Just
myself
enjoying. Okay.
without thinking about anything, and more about finding these unique little details and appreciating it.
I see.
And it's much more about the appreciation of the game, because I have a hunch of how many people have worked on that,
Yeah.
for how long, and how much time that kind of thing must have taken and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it's not less fun, it's just different fun.
Different fun. Okay. 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 Okay, there is a question from Mini. Let me translate it because it's Hungarian. What do you think about, so Mini asks, what do you think about that nowadays a lot of players are hating games, and why they are so aggressive about video games? And the next question goes from Mini 2. Do you think that in the future, near or far future, there will be a change going on this topic, or based on this topic?
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm very, very unhappy about how much hate goes on in the industry. I think especially the big AAA companies get a lot of hate, and I think there's a lot of it might be deserved. but not to a degree where games need to be canceled or
True.
shut down and
True.
stuff like that,
True.
just because a lot of people can hate about it. And I think the way that content creators and stuff like that can move a huge crowd towards something is very, very dangerous, because these influencers can have a lot of power. And if
Sadly, I
someone
would say. Yeah.
tells their community,
Yeah.
oh, this game is not cool
Yeah.
and let's hate on it, and then you suddenly get a huge wave of hate.
True.
I'm not sure how that can change, or how much you might have to accept that as a reality and try to find your own peace with it, or maybe find a way around it. Especially in social media, there's a lot of bubbling. So you are being shown stuff that you have previously watched and stuff that is similar to your interest. And I think a lot of people can end up in a small bubble of just people hating on stuff for the
True.
sake of it. Yeah. And yeah, that's not nice.
It is not nice, and from my player's perspective, and even from my video game journalist perspective, a recent example of this is like I agree with the thing that you said about the bubble, because like the algorithm on the algorithm based topics that are shown to people who consume social media stuff is always there and will always show these negative outlets or streamers or media. But I feel like for my example it's a bit different, because for example I am sad about this fact that so many people hate on games, because most games that I really enjoyed were cancelled by haters. And like people always try to tend the players, I mean, from the player's perspective, tend to say that it's always the developer's fault, it's always the publisher's fault, it's always the game's fault that they flop. But like you said, and I totally agree with you, that like nowadays people have so much power all over the internet that they don't understand this power, and they are not like letting those people who enjoy games play those games anymore, right? And the biggest example now was Highguard. Like I was enjoying my life of that game. Like it was a good game, it was a well established game, it was like a fast paced first person shooter which could really compete with the biggest ones like Apex and Battlefield and all these big names. And I feel like the crazy amount of hate that it got, like from, I don't know, the first 30 minutes, like people haven't even completed the tutorial but went over to Steam and like made a review that it's a shitty game. Like it was so sad to me to see this, that this all hate can like lean towards a cancel of the whole studio. And they even like started to hate on developers, and that's what I don't understand, like why we are such in a place right now in time and era where like me as a person is not allowed to play the game I want, because others will decide the fate of those games, right? And it's stupid in my opinion, because it shouldn't be like that. Like there are so many games released. I read a recent article about like last year it was like 19k games released to Steam. It's so much games that like you cannot even finish in 10 years if you play like 8 hours a day, right? Every day, every day of a year. And like that's what people do not understand, that there is a game in my opinion for everyone. That's why I'm not agreeing, or I don't agree with the hate and the fact that people hate on games, because like at the end of the day it's like life of people like you who trying to create something that is unique and important for not just you, but could it be important to the players. Even if it's just one player, it you have to respect it, that that one player loves the game. Why the hell would you like take away from that one player, right? So it's like, I don't know, it's a crazy time to live in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Yeah.
I also kind of see the development of especially the AAA industry. The production value of games becomes more and more and higher, and the appreciation goes more down every iteration, every cycle. So you have to release an Assassin's Creed every couple of years, and it has to have new graphics and more
Sure.
content and stuff like that. And less people like it, and more people hate on it, and it feels like a little bit of a spiraling out
Sure,
of
but that's the
control.
interesting thing about it. That like I always joke about it, but it's true that like a lot of people praise indie games. But if you think about streamers, video game magazine outlets, or YouTubers, all of them praise indie games. But like, and all of them like are hyping up indie games. But if it comes down to cover indie games and talk about them, mostly none of the big creators or the middle ground creators create stuff on indie games. A lot of them do, but it's like still not that much. Because if you like watch all these big names, they mostly play with live service games, but the same people shit on live service games, right? So it's crazy to me that this on one side people hate on AAA games, but on the other side they praise indie games, but they still play the AAA games, right? So what do these people want from these games, right? So that's why I always say that nowadays I feel like that's my most common thing that I always say, and I believe in it so much that like people do not know nowadays from the player's perspective what they want from a game. And I really think about it, and it ties up to the topic that we talked about, that you mentioned, the tutorial aspect of games, that I feel like a lot of players are not down on the path of understanding the game itself first and being better second, because these two topics are very important to have fun. Because if you think about Crash Bandicoot, right, one of my favorite games of all time, like you had to learn that game. It was a hell of a hard game because that's how these people gained more playtime by players, right? Because they had to be there. They had to learn the mechanics. They had to learn the levels. They had to suffer through all those, jumps and slides and everything. And I think nowadays the whole industry became more casual and people try to respect hardcore games. But they still end up playing very casual games at the end, right? Because it's more fun, let's say. But like, so yeah, I don't know. It's a hard topic. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, by the way,
I
for the
think there are
question.
still. I think there's the very prominent bad side, but there are still very sweet and wholesome and
Yeah,
nice
true. No, I agree. I totally agree
around.
that there are so many good games and there are so many players who appreciate games. It's just for me
Yeah,
personally, since I play with most of the games are released, even AAA, even indie. For me, it's a very sad thing to experience that I start to love a game and suddenly just because a lot of people start to hate on it and they don't like it, the game is cancelled. And it happened to Multiverses, it happened to High Guards, it happened to Knockout City, it happened to so many good games. Like, and that's what I don't understand. That like these games had like very unique ideas, and people want unique ideas, but when they get it, they just stop playing with those games and they just go back to Battlefield, Apex, Destiny, all those big names, right? So it's like, why? Like, you want new games and you don't try it out even. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any more questions? Let me know. Let us know. Bármilyen kérdés? While you are waiting, by the way, I have two more questions. One will be the closing one, and one is for while we are waiting for more community questions. So the first question is, you mentioned that there are a lot of topics that you would like to have in the games that you are making. Can you see yourself in the future after all the experience you had and you will have in your back as a game developer to make your very own game, like that is circled around just or mainly your ideas? Because like you mentioned in the previous segments of our interview, it is very important for you personally to have your own topics in the games to talk about.
You mean making a game on my own about
Not just
myself.
not just as a solo developer, but for example, a game that is tied up to your own idea as a project. Even if like your friends work with you, but like your own very own idea, you know, that you are the main creative person in the project.
Yeah. I think that's not something I'm trying to work towards.
Okay.
Or that I want to achieve at some point. I think it is very important to me to always have something of myself in the game.
I see.
But I also love when these different ideas and different perspectives from the team or maybe other people in the future, anyone I would be working with, when they also add their own self parts in the game, and it can become a combination of stuff. And I think I like it that way, and not so much about just myself or my own ideas, but more a combination of different ideas and different people.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés, urak? Hölgyek, urak? Ladies and gentlemen, any more questions? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to wishlist and check out the Steam page, promotion time, right? We talked about that the promotion side of the games are one of the biggest challenge for developers. So promotion time now. Don't forget to wishlist Bloodletter. It's out on my chat, the link for the Steam page of the game. And don't forget to share your opinion on the game in the Discord server of our friends. This game. Okay, Lukács is asking favorite in-game music. I think that it goes not just to Bloodletter, but also to other games. So yeah. Bloodletter and other games, favorite in-game music.
I like a lot of themes.
Okay.
For example, the Super Smash theme. That has been stuck in my head for ages. Also the one of the Battlefield themes.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Battlefield 3, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And also one soundtrack I have loved for a couple of years that is not very mainstream.
Okay.
Is the Kingdom 2 Crown.
Oh, okay.
That's a small indie game.
Okay.
A 2D game where you act like a king, and enemies come from left and right, and during the day you build your castle, and in the night the enemies come and you need to defend the castle. And they made an expansion that was more in a goth direction.
Okay.
And that soundtrack is I loop that while I code.
Nice, lovely. Thank you.
So, maybe I will try to find the name again, because I'm
okay. I would be thankful for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not finding it right now, but
take time. I'm reading the other questions that we already have in the chat.
Oh, yes. It is called Kingdom 2 Crowns Deadlands.
Okay, I will look it up. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. Thank you again for the question and answers.
Very nice atmosphere. And I also think it is a great atmosphere for Bloodletter.
Okay. You should collaborate, right? You should do a collaboration between the two teams. Yeah. Nice. Love it. Okay. Thank you, by the way, Lukács, for the question. Thank you, Marvin, for the answer.
Yeah, thank
you. Fox's question is, what are your favorite deck builder or deck builder games? As you mentioned, you played and loved deck builder games.
Yeah, there's a very important distinction, and one is between the computer, the digital deck builders, and the analog deck builders.
Okay.
My favorite is Slay the Spire in digital. I played the Slay the Spire 1, and now I'm currently also addicted to Slay the Spire 2. So whenever I'm not working on Bloodletter, I
You're
have to
playing.
play Slay the Spire 2. And I have been enjoying the hell out of the co-op mode.
Okay.
That was incredibly fun. And when it comes to the analog games, there are a lot of very, very interesting deck builders. I very much appreciate that they are not always about killing monsters and defeating enemies and stuff like that, but they sometimes just have very, very unique and interesting themes. The all-time classic, Dominion. I have played that game probably it's probably the game I played the most ever. And I also have little niche. It's called Taverns of Tiefenthal. It's less of a deck building and more of a kind of dice building game.
I see.
So you have your sack of stuff, and you always draw from it. So you don't have your draw pile, and you always draw from the top. And you need to be a tavern keeper. So
Okay.
you need to build new tables and new chairs, and then you need to employ staff to make beer and stuff like that, and provide food for customers. And yeah, I think that was probably one of the main inspirations for coming up with Bloodletter, because I love that the deck building genre can be such an awesome way to kind of communicate or to transport interesting ideas that are
Sure.
not very typical.
Sure.
Like
just killing monsters, like you said, because it's more common to use that idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And one last thing, what was it called? Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Okay.
That is also another board game deck builder. That was also there was a lot of inspiration from that game for Bloodletter. Not thematically, but mechanically. A couple of rules that I liked very much about this game found itself in Bloodletter again.
Okay. Thank you for the question and answer as well. Thank you. Okay, let us know, ladies and gentlemen, if there is any more question. Bármilyen más kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any more question, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Any more question? Let us know. And like I said, don't forget to wishlist Bloodletter on Steam, and also the early access will soon be out. You will be able to play it. And yeah, don't forget to join the Discord server. I will share it on my Discord as well.
Yeah, we are very open and very interested in hearing what you guys think, and if you have any ideas of how to improve the game or anything that you appreciate about the game, we love to hear about it.
Thank you for that. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know. I will wait a little bit, and if there is no other questions, then I will ask my final question here. Bármilyen más kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any more question? Okay, I will ask my final question, but if there will be more questions, I will ask those too, so you guys, ladies and gentlemen, can type it down. So let's circle back to the topic of relationship between people, right? There was a question that was circling in my mind that you were talking about this topic that is important to you, and you have it in Bloodletter too, about the relationship and like the perfect relationship between people, artistic way, on an artistic level. So let me start with my personal opinion about this whole topic. I believe that we as human beings, we always circle back to our past, and past is always circling back to our life as well. I know a lot of people say that we should leave the past behind and all those crazy stuff, but I don't believe in it. And tying up the two topics, your topic and mine topic, that I believe that past is always coming back in our life. And you mentioned that on an artistic level there could be a perfect connection and respect between human beings. Do you believe that by studying, evolving, being more emotional and learning about our past, present and future, we can circle back to the people and have a better connection with them? And personally, for your experience that you also mentioned with honesty, and I appreciate that, do you believe that you could circle back to those relationships that, for example, you missed or you're not having anymore with the people that you had? How do you feel about it? I know it's a very personal question, and I hope that you don't mind me asking this.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, there are some that I think would be best kept away from me.
Okay.
And then there are some that I not happy about.
I see.
And I think that I think it would be good for me for them to circle back to me.
I see.
It's not this black and white.
It's understandable. Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah, and I think especially relationships between people is always work. You need to commit to it. You need to put effort into it, and you need to maintain it.
It's from both sides.
Yeah, from both sides, exactly. And some of those connections, I think I don't need to maintain anymore, or I don't need to revive.
I see.
And some I think might be a good idea to revive them. And I think maybe they come back to me, but if they are important to me, I should put an effort for them to come back to me.
I appreciate your answer.
For me to return to them and not
they
come back.
Like don't wait because they could wait for you, right? So it's like a wait process. I appreciate your answer and thank you for your honesty about this topic. I appreciate, man. Thank you.
Thank you, that was
man.
very interesting.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me look in the chat real quick. Have you told him to prepare a drink or a meal for the interview? No, I forgot that. My bad. But he did prepare a drink. I can see that. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, because we were discussing with my community that as you asked me privately that what should you prepare, and I talked about it that I always forget to tell my guests that they should prepare some drink or meal. If the conversation would be too long, they can eat or drink. So that's why he mentioned it. Yeah.
I have my drink.
Nice. Yeah, and look, I said in the next comment that as soon as I wrote it, I saw him drink a little. Beast timing, exactly. The beast timing is always happening. Yeah. Okay, is there any more question, ladies and gentlemen? Last time to ask, but you will be able to ask in the Discord server as well, in my Discord and in their Discord server as well. Let me know if there is any more question. Closing question from you, ladies and gentlemen. If no, then we will call an end here. And yeah. Yeah, but as far as I see, there are no more questions, so they will be able to ask, like I said, in the Discord, either your Discord or my Discord server. Marvin, thank you, by the way. Thank you for your time. And like I said, I will need some more of your minutes off stream, but for those who are watching us live, or will be watching the VOD version on Twitch or either on YouTube, thank you everyone that you joined us for today's episode of my Dev Live show. Don't forget, like I said, to wishlist Bloodletter on Steam. Be on the lookout, maybe, who knows, for the physical editions, as our friends were speaking about it. And be prepared for early access, because it's out very soon, and give your opinion about the game, either on Steam, if you buy it, or either on Discord, what you're looking for it. how do you feel about the game. But like I'm always saying, don't be rude, don't be a dickhead, be polite. Be polite about your opinion.
That would be nice.
Yeah, be nice, be nice, be nice. These are real human beings who are making games. They have emotions. Be nice. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone. And thank you, Marvin, for your time. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.